this working? All right. Ah, here we go. Here we go. We're live.
I just got done seeing Sonic 3, and yeah, I'm more of a Transformers fan, but fortunately, they're in the same conversation, same topic on Paramount.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because Transformers is a product of Paramount. That's right. Yeah, there's. Oh yeah, no wonder you want to talk about Paramount because Transformers One and Sonic. Oh yeah, gosh, I can't stop thinking of Sonic. I just for some reason I forgot they got even involved for some reason.
He's more of a Sonic fan, I'm more of a Transformers.
Heck yeah, I am. Yeah.
Heck
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's a good conversation starter because we've all had the boy brands that we all grew up with.
Except Top Gun Maverick, because that one is actually, does that predate I know it predates Sonic, but does that predate Transformers? Like
It definitely predates Sonic, but Transformers.
Top Gun.
Right, right.
Top Gun, like one, like I'll look it up. It is 1986. No, so does not. So actually, this predates Top Gun.
All right, there you go.
It's not something that me and you have grown up with, or I have grown up with it, but I do not feel the same heart on, or it's not exactly towards kids like those Transformers and Sonic are.
I suppose.
Nice, sexy.
Font as you get from the original, but it's the equivalent to like.
I'm sorry to diverge. I think it's fair if we talk about Sonic first, since
yeah, that's the most relevant stuff, right?
One, and then Top Gun Maverick, and Sonic 2, and then Transformers 1, and then Sonic 3. So okay, let's put a pin in Top Gun Maverick, and let's go to all the way to 2020 with. You know, I'm sorry about all that. Forget. Let's Men in Black them. Alright. Talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
Oh yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Oh, that's gonna bring me back.
The 2020.
Oh man.
But then that was the only, like, nothing else is Sonic, so that's what we're talking about.
Right, right. We all remember that first trailer that.
Yeah. all the characters that you've grown to like over this series. In this format. Okay, if you don't like them, but imagine all of them and that kind of, like, hyper-realistic Alvin and Chipmunks Yogi Bear shit. Imagine, like.
Well, I mean, not all the real-life models are that bad.
Still was Alvin and the Chipmunks a bit, or Pop, was going through that awkward phase where the studio mandates wanted it to be that kind of thing, but then the fans absolutely put a gun to their head and then say, "Oh shit, we fucked up," and then they're trying. Because I think some of it with whole, like, the owl mother figure, I think that was like a part of that fan backlash. I don't think that was in the original script in the film.
Well,
maybe it is. I don't know, but I'm going on a hunch that it probably wasn't.
Well, given the overall execution of the first one, it doesn't really surprise me the way it's executed because typically with Hollywood, you get with these kind of buddy kind of films where, oh, here's a fantastical creature or some kind of talking animal interacting with a human character, causing chaos. You get that with, like, Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Smurfs, you know. If you're familiar with those kind of movies, you basically see the first Sonic movie.
Yeah, but at least this one has it was finally showing some promise.
Oh, yeah.
Some promise with the backlash being heard.
Oh, yeah.
Them getting their act up.
Yep.
And there is still, like, the annoyances. And Jim Carrey is Robotnik. Yeah.
Many people.
Still, even to where it is now, I still am kind of a bit. They could have done better.
Well, I mean, it's very clear.
They could have done a lot better. A lot better. I'm not saying Jim Carrey, he's a blast, but they could have done a lot better.
Well, I suppose, I mean, if I were to make a Sonic movie, I would go in a completely different direction from this entire trilogy of movies we've gone so far. But obviously, they were going for something more lighthearted, something more mainstream for the families. And so certainly, it started off with sort of typical buddy kind of road trips kind of stuff. And the first,
no, remember, we're not talking about Sonic. We're talking about We're talking about Sonic 1 and then Top Gun Maverick and Sonic 2.
That's what I'm talking about!
Oh, I thought you were... Okay.
We're still talking about the same movie.
I don't think that Sonic the Hedgehog, I don't think it has that... I think you're gonna say it's a bit more, like, gritty. I thought you were gonna say that.
I was gonna talk about the first trailer. I was gonna go back to that. Yeah, it's alright, So, yeah, with that first trailer, I mean, everything was going fun with it, but people were saying, oh, this isn't sort of so bad it's good kind of category. Mainly due to the fact that Sonic was horrifically designed to try to be realistic. So he's got these weird, toothy kind of mouth.
Imagine if, since they were going to be 3 characters, imagine if they did go with the Alvin Chipmunks, with how Tails and Knuckles would be like... Oh my god.
No doubt, someone online would have had...
They would go to high school. And then they would go to the island.
Ugly high school animals. That would be great.
God, for the fans.
Yeah, that's something we want to highlight in this live stream particularly. The fact that Jeff Fowler and the other people at that particular filmmaking team actually listened to the fans. Like, that's not really well heard of these days. And yet, here we are. They've listened to the fans, and because of the backlash, they hired Tyson Hesse, a renowned Sonic illustrator, to help with the redesign, and Sonic looks not just more like how he was in the game, but also more appealing to the kind of film they're trying to go for. And they released it, the design was much better, and the film excelled before it.
With how absolutely balls to the walls, like, crazy he is.
Yeah.
Like, it is, he definitely, like, at the time of his life.
Oh, he's having so much fun with these movies.
Yeah, but I still would say that's Eggman.
Well, I mean...
It's its own spin, I guess, it's still, but that is, and this is going to be a recurrent theme, but that is the one from the, even the Sonic Afternoon, Sonic FM, as it's called, like...
Sonic Sat AM?
And, yeah, Sat AM, those series, and also with the mainstream Sonic games. So that is... Dr. Robotnik.
You wouldn't know by the first trailer, but to be fair, even with the first trailer that was universally panned, we do get a little glimpse at the end where he grows his mustache and he has the bald hair by the end, so people begin to think, okay, now it's looking more like Robotnik.
By the end of the film, own up to when he went in the Mushroom Planet, again, talking to another famous video game character.
Especially since Sonic said he doesn't like the Mushroom Planet and the Mushroom Stink.
I remember I did, back in my, like, you know, bad days in my YouTube channel, I did make news on, like, on Jason Marsden going into Sonic. I remember covering that.
Alright.
Like, in one of my old videos.
Oh, wow.
2019, I made that.
Right.
So, this definitely, again, he did Hop, and, you know...
Oh, yeah.
At this time, he's not the Easter Bunny. At this time, he's not like...
That's right. Another one, yes.
He's more of a... He's still a side character, and he's a side character going on. He's more... And... He's also kind of like that human character. It's like... I would say with Transformers, but I'd say even with the Sonic, like Sonic X, like, he reminds me of that, you know, that kid who's like the human companion.
Chris Thorndike?
In the Sonic X one.
Yeah, that's Chris Thorndike. Yeah, I know the names of these characters. Yeah.
And except in the Sonic X series, I say that Sonic is cool and tough and is in his prime, more like...
Well, he usually is in most of his depictions.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get into how that he's more like cool and confident, like teenager. Where this Sonic is basically getting in the actor Ben Schwartz who plays him. He's just playing his DuckTales version, which is already a reboot. So this is getting Inception. Just pretty much putting his DuckTales performance into his Sonic performance, which works well. Like that, you know, that kiddish teenager, that preteen, and that really like say that Sonic and Sonic X is 16, 17, and this is going like 13 or 14, like, you know, like that kind of age where you're like, oh yeah, I'm a rock star. Like, it's also kind of like how the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is also we could talk about, but I don't care about. Okay, maybe we'll talk about that.
Maybe
we'll talk in 2023, but it's kind of like with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, with how at first they were like a bunch of fun-loving, and then they got more angstier and tougher.
Yeah.
I think this is like the inverse with this. It's more like the inverse.
I will say this, as someone who's experienced the Sonic X show, I can guarantee all the human characters in the Sonic movie trilogy are far more tolerable than Chris Thorndike will ever be.
Are you sure about that?
I speak on part of the Sonic fanbase, Brooks. Chris Thorndike is one of the most hated Sonic characters in existence. He is such a whiny wimp.
I mean, he did jump in the pool to save Sonic.
I mean, it's not that he's completely useless. It's just that throughout the show, he keeps getting himself in danger and keeps fangirling over Sonic, and it gets annoying.
And Sonic has to be the one
to save him, yeah.
And I feel like it's a bit the other way around with Jason Marsden. Yeah, that's kind of what I don't like that much about this portrayal. I kind of wish, even still into the other films, that I wish that the Sonic would have been more like Sonic X.
I mean,
because I do like that Sonic X better. Just the aesthetic appeal. He's the most dynamic character, the most depth, has no depth. It's just a cool factor, and that's what we're going into these. I wanted Sonic as a whole, so honestly, I would rather him be cool and tough and confident. Instead, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it does make sense to depict Sonic in his sort of younger days, and the first Sonic film is, basically adapting like the first Sonic game, so it makes sense to portray Sonic as, new and adapting to becoming a hero.
Well, I'll get into that when we get into the other films.
Yeah.
I should save it for the third one. I'm saving it.
Believe me, Brooks, there's so many other Sonic media I could bring into this discussion. Namely, I think there's a unanimous agreement among the Sonic fan base that the best portrayal of Sonic in terms of televised cartoon series would be the Sat AM show with Jim Cummings voicing everybody. Yeah,
which definitely, I think let's get into the Tails post-credit, knowing that they would do Tails.
Yes.
So that they're not gonna do the Sat AM continuity at all. That would be cool if they did.
That would be so cool, yeah.
That would actually be much better, honestly.
Oh yeah.
But they were going for the clear mainstream, everyone knows Tails, everyone knows Knuckles. So they're going for the more mainstream one. They couldn't let the fans get greedy and say that maybe they might in the fourth one, maybe say the alternate timeline with that, go full Arcane on us and show a different timeline where it is a Sat AM. Except in Arcane, that's the world was terrible, and it's actually cool in that one. But this would be the other way around. Actually.
It's funny you mentioned that, because Sonic Prime is basically that. That's another Netflix show, by the way, that Sonic recently had in recent years. So it's funny you bring that up, actually.
Maybe that's gonna be the plot of the Sonic 4, because there's clearly gonna be more.
Oh yeah, I've noticed in the Sonic franchise that there's been a lot of emphasis on crossing across different dimensions more than ever now. Even more like that in Sonic Rush, actually. There's in the Game Awards, there's recently been an announcement for a racing game called Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Okay, what is that implying? Is that implying a crossover between different dimensions or something? So, also, in Sonic X Shadow Generations, it was DLC made specifically to promote Sonic 3, so yeah, interesting advertising there.
I think that's all we have to talk about Sonic 1, because it is all around a mid-movie, wouldn't you say?
I remember calling it.
It's like the snake getting off its skin. It's really uncomfortable. It's probably the worst one to watch.
Yeah, it's not to say it's a bad film. It's just that.
And comparing that, there's more.
Yeah.
If you would watch this on your own, don't do yourself a favor. Just watch it with the trilogy. Just watch it with or just if you We'll probably by the end of this decide which of the trilogy is the best one.
That's an easy pick for me, but yeah, I should say about the first film is that what was I was gonna say again? A lot of people definitely critiqued the fact that it was relying a bit too much on the Hollywood tropiness of like funny animal character with the human sidekick. But again, like they did with the initial teaser, they actually listened to the fans and made improvements, and
they course corrected and actually gave something that is more faithful. And I think that's all we have for Sonic 1.
Yeah. So with Sonic 2, it was much more faithful.
No. I think we should. What should we talk about first? Top Gun Maverick or Sonic 2?
Oh yeah, Sonic. Well, Top Gun Maverick came out in 2020.
I think for the sake of diversity, we should talk about Top Gun Maverick and Sonic 2, and then talk about Transformers 1 and then Sonic 3. And we haven't seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Actually, we don't. I was just a brief mention, actually.
Top Gun Maverick came out before Sonic 2, right?
What?
Did Top Gun Maverick?
No. Top Gun Maverick came out in the summer. Sonic 2 came out in the
spring. That's right.
It's funny
yes.
About how I will say this about how Sonic came out at the beginning of 2020 in January or February, either way. And funny enough, Sonic came out during like March or April. Sonic 2, and then Sonic 3 came out in December. So it's really like a good like transition throughout the year for this trilogy, I will say.
Yeah. It's funny that Robotnik says I'll be home by Christmas, and the third film came out around Christmas time. It's funny how that works.
Alright, let's talk about
Top Gun Maverick. We have talked at length about this movie already in another live stream, and needless to say,
it's been 2 years.
2 years. It has been the best movie of that particular year, and it was so good that people kept coming back to the cinemas, and they literally re-released the film that same year.
Yeah, okay, remember when we put that pin in that like movie propaganda thing? Let's bring that back. Let's bring back like all the things we were talking about before about Top Gun Maverick.
Right. So yeah, it's interesting that the first fault of the film basically copies what it said in the first film, but this time it adds in men and women.
It's really hard to critique this film. I would.
Yeah.
If you were a liberal, it'd be easier. But it's baked on your conservative expectations. That for liberals, you are easier to critique it. For us, it's harder.
But other than that, it was a unanimously beloved movie.
That's not an insult. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
You guys you can critique it all you want. It's just
right. So with Top Gun Maverick, this was a time, and more people becoming aware of it now, but especially back then, Hollywood would not shut up about diversity and inclusivity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And through that, they thought they could get away with poorly written characters. Right.
The hell was that ever made? Like, of all the crap we got from the woke, and that was what we got during that. That was kind of showing at least a good thing that Hollywood was was showing up, like was warming up for, and they did, but because the next year afterwards was much better. Like that, Hollywood kids still make some good stuff.
All right. Mad Cat Lon says, "What is happening? I'll tell you what is happening, my friend. We are discussing Paramount stuff, and we are discussing Top Gun Maverick at the moment. So in regards to Top Gun Maverick, unlike so much of the other media at the time, it actually gets diversity right. Namely, it doesn't shove it in your face, and it just feels natural, like, hey, this is a diverse working place. If you're talented enough, you can be part of the workforce." And you see
I will say this about Top Gun Maverick. It does have 2 Transformers 1 cast members, and I'll wait.
Really?
I'll put it. Yes, it does. I'll reveal them when we get to Transformers 1.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna hype that up.
Oh, I didn't know this. Or maybe I did and I've forgotten. Oh gosh, wow.
No, you won't.
Okay, that's it. Is it because of like Paramount stuff like that? Christian RPG Gamers, hello.
Characters like in Top Gun Maverick who would be in Transformers 1 more side characters. Well, they're in different roles. I'm not gonna give it away until we get there.
All right, I like your expectations. Also, hello, Christian RPG gamers. Welcome to the live stream. Right, so continuing on with Top Gun Maverick.
That hasn't already been said. Yeah, it's okay. Let's just get to Sonic 2. I think that.
Wait! We just got started with Top Gun Maverick.
What else did it say?
Tom Cruise does awesome stunts. Hold on. You might want to increase the volume of your microphone. People are saying you're a wee bit quiet.
Oh, okay.
I suppose you could lean in or increase the thing. People in the live chat just let us know if you hear. Maybe I should turn down my.
Couldn't hear me the whole time?
Oh no, I could hear you. They could hear you. They were just saying you were quiet. That's all. I should probably turn down my volume a wee bit.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
We'll wait for the audience to decide. I mean, I could certainly kind of clear as daylight, but we'll just wait for the audience. So I suppose whilst we're waiting, might as well talk about Gun Maverick, mainly about its impact, because we've already talked about the film a lot in several live streams, but what is there to say that hasn't been said? I should probably talk about its impact, in retrospect, because I think it's kind of relevant to talk about it, because, like I said earlier, there's literally been a news announcement, and I'm not making this up. Quiet still. Okay, you might want to increase the volume a wee bit. Okay, switch another mic. Okay, I'll talk about Top Gun Maverick whilst we wait. So, with Top Gun Maverick, there's recently been an announcement that that movie managed to get so many people into the military, and that's astonishing.
Yeah, and this was at a time where America conservatism was not seen in a pretty light. So that this came out at all, and that people actually liked it, and I mean loved it. Even though, it is crazy with how MCU has rotted our heads with how our expectations have big bombastic death-defying. And I think even there's this one question that our friend Charlie said: if the MCU were to die out, then what would happen? I think there would be a return to historical epics, different stories.
That's right.
I think Top Gun Maverick was that kind of symbolizing that we kind of already knew the MCU was over. It ended with Endgame. It's done. We knew it. It's like Walter White. It's not over until I say it's.
It's over. Also, the people are saying it's slightly louder, but still quiet. I guess slightly louder will do for my standards.
Alright. Better?
I know something burst. Okay, try speaking.
Okay, is this better?
Okay, that might work.
Alright.
So, the fact that this film was unanimously loved, despite Tom Cruise's very questionable Scientology activities, as well. I mean, the fact that the fact that Tom Cruise and his team.
Wait, do we want to talk about Mission Impossible Rogue Nation also?
Was that also a Paramount?
No, not Rogue Nation. Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning.
It's so hard to get their names right.
Mission Impossible 3.172.
Because honestly, at least Mission Impossible is ending. And yeah, so should we talk about Dead Reckoning also?
Is Dead Reckoning also a Paramount movie?
Yes, it is.
Right.
It is Mission. It is a part. Yeah, if it's Tom Cruise, it's Paramount.
I love that logic. If Tom Cruise is in it, it's Paramount by default.
I think that's the only company that Tom Cruise can trust.
So if Tom Cruise jumps into this live stream, then it's officially Paramount. Oh, that reminds me actually, that's something I forgot about for some reason. At the closing ceremony of the 2024 Olympics, Tom Cruise himself,
and he would just he would spray can on the flag of Paramount. A mountain, stars, and a sky in the back.
Just carry the Olympic torch and then just stuff it into the Paramount and make a volcano for the Olympics to start. But anyway.
He would hijack the Olympics by just promoting out Paramount.
Yeah, but yeah, he did hijack in a good way the closing Olympics, and that was definitely and that was a highlight. That just goes to show the impact of this one movie, and it's immense. Just this one movie encouraged people to be at their physical peak and to push themselves to depend on each other to have diversity done right.
A lot of people's careers. It made a lot. It helped that one guy who was foiled to Rooster. It helped. He's in Twisters, and which is another sequel is a sequel to another.
Oh yeah.
90s film, like another old film.
All right.
I don't care about that honestly, but it is good that it did help some people's careers out.
Right. Also, you might want to increase the volume of your mic somehow. I think people are saying, I feel like I'm listening to your buddy through a wall. I cannot hear him half the time. I'm so sorry. This is the way.
Is this better? Is this better?
Is this better, ladies and gentlemen? Is this better? Maybe I should decrease the volume of mine.
Okay.
I think.
Can they at least hear me through you? Can they hear me through you?
Maybe, I guess.
No, like hear like my like what you're saying
with the echo.
How they get what I'm saying from you.
I guess we'll wait and see. I mean, I can hear you perfectly clearly. I mean, I think your voice is indeed coming through in the broadcast. It's just fairly quiet. I think somehow you can. Oh, is it Google Meet? That's a problem.
No, okay, not this. Is this better? Is this?
I think that can work. Yes, I think that can work. Yes.
Is this? Well, anyone in the audience, speak for now or forever hold your peace, please.
Yes, forever hold onto your peas and then have sweet corn with it. Yeah.
So what are they saying?
Very quiet.
I really want to get on with the
all right. Let the people hear him. Come on. Tell him that he's...
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Look, clear clap.
Take a listen to him now.
Clear. Like, do I have to do this, probably?
Yeah, I had to do that for a time, so I guess that could probably work. We'll try doing that and see how it works out.
Top Gun Maverick. All right,
so back to Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, that film had an immense impact.
So it is quite and it's kind of a rare film that you would not see made today. Like that was made.
I mean, people say that Tom Cruise is the quote-unquote last Hollywood stars. I think that's a contributing factor to it. The fact that for a guy in his 60s, he's still going hard with those stunts.
Yeah, and one of these days he's got to get himself killed. One of these days.
Well, look at it this way: Dick Van Dyke is still dancing in his 90s. Maybe Tom Cruise will be daft enough to do stunts in his 70s.
I mean, at least he's finally done. He better be retired. If he comes back,
no guarantees.
After Dead Reckoning Part 2, I'm going to kill him.
You hear that?
Ridiculous stuff and have him killed. Alright? Better this time. Retire like you did your character. Like Maverick did. Or die already.
That's right, Tom Cruise. If you're not going to do your professional stunts if you're going to do professional stunts in your 70s, Brooks will hunt you down like Liam Neeson.
I will kill you. And I'll make you. No, I won't just...
I can't hear him at all anymore. What is this live stream become? You're gonna have to plug that back in. I can't hear you at all. Oh man.
Now can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. And now I can't at all. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. No.
can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Okay. So, long story short, Top Gun Maverick has had its impact. Oh man. Okay. Let's move on to Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning because
I wonder if they don't even hear me that much, and they're like wondering what the hell is makes so fun.
Maybe that's the case.
Ask them that.
By the way, who is Tom something or other? Tom, who are you talking? Oh, Tom Cruise. Mad Cat Lord, where have you been? We're talking about Tom Cruise. You know, the main star of Top Gun Maverick. And Mission Impossible. Don't worry, you're still more entertaining than all of the Disney and woke garbage entertainment industry. Thanks, Christian RPG gamers. As is
say about me too.
Hey, but yeah, we're mainly talking about how Paramount's doing a much better job at Disney in this regard. So yeah, Tom Cruise has definitely been the lead of a lot of good entertainment for the wee while with Top Gun Maverick, which got released in cinemas twice. With Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, which a lot of people were really impressed by. I mean, sure, people have pointed out a few plot holes here and there, but on the whole, Tom Cruise seems to just get these kind of movies. No one's complaining about diversity, this and that. All the men and women have their parts, and no one's complaining about misogyny, this or this and that.
You could talk about Top Maverick.
Sure. I was talking about Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, but yeah. Right. So, if you were silent and blank screen, you would still be better. I guess that goes to show the quality of entertainment, I guess. He'll be back.
I am back.
Da 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 da. Mad Cat Lord says, I have been living under this rock called Silicy for the past 16 years. I pity you, man. I pity you. So anyway, with Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, once again, Tom Cruise is applying his immense talents. And yeah, sure, there's a bit of CGI here and there, but no cliff or no cliff.
I think that Tom Cruise has gotten the ginormous ego. Like his performance in another Paramount movie, Tropic Thunder, was not exaggeration about him, but his actual, like, him just playing himself through that character.
Holy moly. I've heard a lot about the movie. I've yet to see that, to be honest. I've heard it's hilarious.
I have seen it.
Okay.
We have to see it.
Oh man, we should prioritize that then. Me and Brooks watch a lot of movies. We just recently watched Goodfellas because Christmas happens to be happening in Goodfellas.
I will say it's out of context that Robert Downey Jr. screams to God like God is ripping his testicles off.
What a description. So with Mission Impossible: Dead Rick. Dead. Sorry. What has this become? With Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Okay, we can't do this. We can't.
Hey, let's just get to Sonic 2.
Yeah, let's get. Long story short, Tom Cruise is doing great. So, with Sonic 2, once again, like with the first teaser, they listened to the feedback and they actually improved. Yeah, there's still.
Yeah, and this time it does not feel like an Alvin Chipmunks film. And since we have Tails and Knuckles, it's no longer just interacting with the human characters. I'm glad that they have minor. It's like the same issue I have a bit with the Transformers film. That there's too much of the human character.
Oh, yeah.
But at least they minute it down to the point where Tails is in Knuckles has just as much as that like obliterates the first movie's like Alvin and Chipmunks formula and gives it more of a Sonic feel.
Absolutely.
Actually, like finally, we're actually making a genuine Sonic film. Like,
absolutely.
Feel like and it's definitely a much better watch.
Oh, absolutely.
Much better.
Absolutely. They go full more into the Sonic kind of world building, albeit doing their own spin on it, but still, and it's all the more enjoyable for it. Yeah, there are still some of the sort of Hollywoody tropey stuff that's seen in the last film, but it's much lesser than it is in this film. I mean, it's not really bothersome per se. That the most that people have complained about
again, imagine Tails and Knuckles going to like high school, like having their aesthetic or help, even maybe being the Easter Bunny and stopping from destroying Easter or something.
A collaboration between Ugly Sonic.
Jellystone Park.
The ultimate collaboration of ugliness. Yogi Bear, Alvin and Chipmunks, Smurfs, Ugly Sonic, and Easter Bunny.
Ugly Tails and Ugly Knuckles. Don't forget them.
All unite for the power of Buddy Road Trip.
They would meet up with Thor, since actually...
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was Thor also had that similar ugly, you know, like, first step. Because that was when the MCU was in its heyday, before the second one could go all the way with it better.
Gosh, how on earth did... If Paramount was so big, how did Disney get the rights to the Marvel property?
And you know what? In alternate universe, maybe Marvel MCU could have been on this. Yeah, and maybe it would be much better if they stick with Paramount. Obviously, Disney would not homogenize them.
Mad Cat Lon says the Smurfs cause me intense rage.
I don't blame you.
We don't blame you, no, not at all. No. So we should probably continue going with Sonic 2.
Sonic 2 with Knuckles, and it's actually feeling like an adaptation.
Absolutely.
It's not feeling like it can't make up its mind. It made up its mind, and at least this definitely gets even better as the trilogy goes along.
Absolutely.
Well, I just saw Sonic 3, and we're gonna talk about that because we're going year by year. Don't worry, we'll get to that. After this, we'll do Transformers 1, and then we'll do Sonic 3, and then we're done. Good night, fellas. But not right now. We're still going on with Sonic 2.
The night is still young, don't you know?
What else with Sonic 2 we've talked about?
Well, I suppose there is the fact that it's a pretty interesting depiction of Knuckles, and amongst the Sonic fan base, people actually really, really appreciate this particular depiction of Knuckles. For the longest time in games like Sonic Boom and a few others, Knuckles was given a bit of poor treatment, but in this movie, Knuckles was given quite the revival in his depiction, where he was naive, but not really, really dumb. He was kind of like Drax.
Like Drax.
Yeah, he's like Drax, yes. And
by the way, yes, I do have McDonald's. I do. I mean,
that was that was more of an enjoyable advertisement than the forced Olive Garden advert in the first Sonic movie.
Which never came on again throughout the rest of the trilogy.
That was another thing they improved on. They are clearly listening to their fans to have less of the corporate advertising. Insert Wayne's World joke here. They have less of the human stuff, although people did complain about this one wedding scene, but even then, the wedding scene wasn't really terrible per se. Yeah, it was fun. It was funny. It just kind of deviated from what people were actually coming for. And certainly,
at least they tried to make the human characters because they are obliged to have them.
Aye.
At least they had fun with the human characters.
Oh yeah.
Again, we have to get back to Dr. Robotnik, Eggman, becoming more faithful, going full bald, everyone.
Full bald, full must. Papa's got a brand new stash.
Like, Doctor, what the hell happened to you?
Papa's got a brand new stash. Ha! Time to get out of this piece of shiitake planet. He's having the time of his life, and it was so good to see him in the Robotnik get up with the egg pod and all the other stuff like that, going up against Sonic and Tails. And you get to see the rivalry between Sonic and Knuckles, like you'd see in the Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It's a rather interesting take on like the Chaos Emerald and the Master Emerald. I mean, the origins of like the Chaos Emerald and the Master Emerald differ between like the comics and the films and the games.
Also, you can say, oh, this is the Infinity Stones. Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Think of the Chaos Emerald and the Master Emerald.
They ripped off a lot of stuff. They ripped off from Dragon Ball Z. They ripped off from Marvel. Yeah.
Mad Cat Lon says Eggman is peak character design. Yeah, interesting.
I wouldn't say that he's bad character design. I would say the casting is not bad either. I would say it's weird. I actually think they could do a lot better with the casting. But he is having the time of his life. Yes, and he's doing an amazing job.
Mad Cat Lon also says every single depiction is great. Yeah, certainly in Sonic 2 we get the depictions of the characters that are very faithful to the games while still being its own thing for the sake of the movies, which is great because with adaptations, I mean, obviously you want to respect the fan base, but you don't always have to make a copy for copy of the original. You could do your own thing. I mean, Christopher Nolan certainly did that with the Dark Knight trilogy.
It
Yeah.
It would be nice for. This is like the first, like. I mean, maybe I'm asking too much.
Maybe. I mean, again, if I were in the director's house, this series would have taken a completely different direction. But what I like about this series is that even though it's not the direction I would have picked, it's confident in what it is by Sonic 2 at least, and it knows what it is. It's not trying to be a Citizen Kane. It's not trying to be a corporate thing for the most part. It's just trying to appease to this specific audience, broad families.
Hell, they even end the film with the main characters getting together and having a ball game with basically and starting this whole family thing. And maybe we should do Tails. Let's talk about since they established 2 new characters.
Aye, Tails.
Again, Tails could have been ugly, but he was even brought back the original voice actor.
Yeah. The voice actors from the games,
and
yeah.
Tails is pretty easy to get. That's why I kind of wish, okay, so I even said that Sonic was a bit preteens. He's getting a little older, but he still doesn't have that cool, aesthetic that usually Sonic, that cool, hot shot, oh, that's a cool guy. I want to hang out with him. No, this is a cool kid.
Yeah. I mean, I like, again, it's interesting how...
In the Sonic X series, if you see them with Tails, you could say, yeah, he's definitely an older brother figure to him.
Yeah.
This would be the slightly older brother figure.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah.
But
I think...
enough to justify the older.
Yeah, it's clear that for the sake of these movies aimed towards families, they're having their own adaptation of it where Sonic has to go through a sort of character arc of, learning to get older, learning to be the cool guy, as it were, which is a pretty interesting take, if you ask me.
I will still have things to say about for Sonic 3.
Oh, yeah. I've got a lot of things to say about Sonic 3 when we get to that. Other things to say about Sonic 2, I mean, good action, good world-building suspense and stuff like that, fight scenes and stuff like that, humor from Jim Carrey and stuff like that, all the stuff you love. A lot of combat references to the games and stuff like that. And you even get the characters teaming up at the end, taking down Robotnik, and Jim Carrey is always putting in his physical comedy, and there's this epic final fight paying homage to the ending of Sonic 2 with the Death Egg robot. And we get.
I will say this: by Sonic 2, with Sonic 1, I was not convinced that Eggman and Sonic were that bitter arch rivals at the same the same spirit that you would have in the Sonic games or in the Sonic X. By Sonic 2, with how Eggman was towards Sonic by the end, I felt that. I'm gonna get you, Sonic. I fucking hate you, you stupid hedgehog.
Right. Someone cast him as Eggman, please. It's just, yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna get you, Sonic.
So, yeah, I mean, certainly their rivalry gets more intense, especially when he nearly kills, Tom and Maddie, and Eggman is convinced, yes, I got him! I finally got him! Only for Sonic to turn into his super transformation for the first time in this film series, and Robotnik tries to play dirty. But it's funny you bring up Sonic X, because the scene where Super Sonic stops the fist, I think fans have speculated that that's a reference to a scene from Sonic X where Sonic does the same maneuver when Eggman tries to take down Super Sonic. So that's interesting that you bring it up. And
it's just that I would like. It's not that Jim Carrey does not have great points. I would like it to have that more grouchy, silly attitude, and then it's that flamboyant, attitude that Jim Carrey obviously has.
Well, I think that actually was the case in Sonic 2, because by the end of Sonic 1, I observed that the way Jim Carrey used his voice, he was starting to sound more like Mike Pollock in the games, where when he said the line.
It's still the case that Jim Carrey, it's kind of the same way where like like it's like you know the actor so well that like it's all like there's this other story like Freud's Last Session when like Anthony Hopkins like I can see that he transforms himself into the character, but I still see him as Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah,
I still cannot see him as anything else. I just know him so well that the actor has become his own character that you can literally see him in like Jim Carrey as like, oh, he's playing himself and Robotnik.
I mean, yeah, on the one hand you could say that, but on the other hand, don't underestimate Jim Carrey's acting range. He's done some serious roles in the past as well.
Oh yes, he's done Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. That one
He's also done Eternal Sunshine on the Spotless Mind, where he played an introverted character.
The Truman Show.
And Truman Show, yeah. Yeah, I suppose his acting.
It's not serious. It's the matter of the grouchy, like I guess, old man. Like I think that in Sonic 3 we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I think this one is a bit more too young. I would say.
I guess.
That's Sonic 2. They're a bit too young.
You can make the argument that they go into the characters where they get to that state of being, which would make sense for the sake of an adaptation. And what I appreciate about Jim Carrey's performance is that, especially in Sonic 2 and at the end of Sonic 1 and in this movie as well, is that there's certain parts where he starts to sound more and more like the Mike Pollock Eggman when he starts to go say lines like,
I
"What?"
love that Mike Pollock Eggman. I love
yeah.
That's why I just say he's nothing compared to Mike Pollock. It's just a fact.
Yeah, it's rather interesting. Like ever since Shadow the Hedgehog, whilst there's been various voice actors that have changed, the one character who has never been recast to this day, it's Mike Pollock as Eggman. He just fits the role so well. Yeah. Whenever you hear that voice, you think, "Oh, that's Eggman. This maniacal, big genius." Yeah.
Jim Carrey is like. Really?
I mean, I'm trying to say, like, it kind of makes sense to depict Jim Carrey as a younger version because on the one hand he's being himself, but at the same time he's becoming more and more like Mike Pollock when he says lines like "coming, getting," and stuff like that, while still allowing for the humor. And it's funny enough that Jim Carrey was announcing his retirement, and I would have found it hilarious if he retired. His final line in any movie would have been "Later, hater." But fortunately, he did come back from retirement, and that was part of why the third Sonic movie succeeded.
Let's talk about the post-credit scene, and then we're gonna get so wait. Sonic 2 is then Shadow.
Yes! Oh, I was beyond hyped.
I was hyped myself, because I love Shadow also. We'll get to that when we talk about Sonic 3.
Yeah.
So. Now that we're done with Sonic 2, I think we're done with everything, right?
Yeah, for now. You wanted to Transformers 1?
Let's get to Transformers 1.
Aye, another Paramount movie. I guess of man. So
and this is where my time to shine, because I am a big Transformers fan. Alright. Oh man, the expectations were so low, and yet a bit high.
It didn't help that the marketing was not very good for this film.
A bit about the brief history of the Bayformers, and also.
Yep.
But I grew up with the Bayformers like 2007, but overall, I will also give a bit of Transformers as a franchise is so applicable. I'll say this about the original 1986 film, is that film had the death of so many Transformers and Optimus Prime. That couldn't surprise you. That would have Michael Bay. That it just have a tradition where it'll be ultra violent. That would it surprise you that what it came out with Michael Bay what he did with the Transformers, or at least with the first trilogy, with how violent they were. Did it surprise you? I mean, with the
in hindsight,
like before, like with the first two seasons. Yeah, I know, but with how violent that was, no wonder Michael Bay made it even more violent. Like, scarily violent, to the point where Sentinel Prime literally got his head shot off, and Megatron's face with an axe. Head with an axe.
As it happens.
And the last two, like, Michael Bay films are dead to me. Yep. I think that even Michael Bay, he wanted to end it with the trilogy, but the studio mandated he had to make more.
Oh, really?
That The Last Night was hopefully the one he wanted to end off of. Since he had to be stopped, that's why I named The Last Night. And the one thing that Doug Walker was wrong about is that it's never the last run. It was the last one. Thank God.
That was
But then
weird.
it's Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
My God.
Bumblebee. Yeah. Oh, man.
This is what's showing what we always wanted with this franchise. And I'm gonna get to this. I'm hyping up the Transformers 1, and then the rest of the film was basically E.T. or an Iron Giant. And
it works because 80s kind of movie, so it makes sense.
I still kinda like it's okay. It's still too focused on the humans. Oh, it is still too focused on the humans. That is the problem. It's still too focused on the humans. And then we get to Rise of Beasts, where, again, man, the Transformers look worse than they did in the original in the Bay Transformers. Like, they looked fantastic, and look at them, like,
I think the consensus with Rise of the Beast is that whilst it was mediocre, it was at least received way better than Age of Extinction and The Last Night.
Yeah, I will say that. But that's going to Transformers 1. I was so burned out because I thought that Rise of Beast could have done it. But my God, did Transformers 1, even with the terrible marketing, even with the star-studded cast, which I thought was probably a bit, even with Chris Hemsworth, again, it's like with Dr. Robotnik, or with, like, even if he was Thor, I still, like, you can't match Peter Cullen. You can't!
No.
You can't match with Peter Cullen.
You can't.
But, despite all odds, Transformers had recaptured my attention, and I don't want to let go of it. I mean, it has the fat of kind of with the Sonic films, it's a buddy thing.
Yeah.
It had the fat of it.
Yeah.
But my God, my fucking God, that it actually turned into the heart and soul of that film. Of this film.
It's funny how things turn around, and Chris Hemsworth sounded more and more like Peter Cullen as the film goes along. Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick, about the actors who were in that film. I've been hyping up. John Hamm and that one guy who was friends with Maverick, who was like, they both play Megatron, D16, and Sentinel Prime.
Right.
So John Hamm plays Sentinel, and the other guy I don't know plays D16 Megatron.
Oh yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah. Alright, I didn't know that, but it should have been plain as daylight. Yeah.
Also, it's changing on the lore, which Transformers is a very complicated thing.
It's its own adaptation, like the Sonic movies.
No. The lore, I meant. It is a convoluted, like, mess of beauty that it is. Like, it is crazy how this universe has so much density to it before Transformers 1 got there. And that they had to define themselves in 2010 as definitive lore. Because they had so much strands of lore throughout the years. So many adaptations, unlike with Sonic, which it predated Sonic. It had so much that it is, especially with Transformers Prime, which is my favorite lore. I would prefer Transformers Prime over this film. It's not that this is great. I just think that I prefer Megatronus not be a minor, and the whole cog thing, that's a cool bit of lore, but I would just prefer if they were built like, if they didn't have that, they just were transforming from the start.
Alright.
That's not even possible. That's in the Transformers Prime universe. And so, and by the way, Orion Pax is not the name that the D16, I think, is the name that they came up with the film, but Orion Pax is not. He was originally Orion Pax before.
All right. So they didn't entirely make it all up.
Even in the Transformers 80s cartoon, you would be sorely disappointed to find out that Megatron was just an evil twat. And when he was with Orion Pax, like, he was just an evil, like, just for the sake of evil. Even like to the point. But how Megatron is received in this, like from D16 to Megatronus, like to his like inspiration from as the first Decepticon, like. I mean, there's in the Revenge of the Fallen, and also definitely in Transformers Prime, it is said that he's one of the original 13 Primes. So he again also in Revenge of the Fallen was one of the original Primes.
Right.
But it was really Megatron was the first Decepticon. It was really like say Megatronus was the inspiration.
Okay.
And I love the detail. I always thought that something was the symbols were birthed from something. But I love how Megatronus's face was the symbol for the Decepticons. I love that detail. And there are actors like Chris Hemsworth who is Thor. He lives and breathes it. He can do this in his sleep. And the thing with Morpheus,
Martin Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne, yep.
Martin Fishburne, who's also in the Matrix and another John Wick with, Keanu Reeves. We'll talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
But playing Alphatron, who also could do this in his sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Also play this. And there's also, I've definitely seen the bonus features, like, say, the guy who voiced Bumblebee, he definitely was enthusiastic about it, but I think the joke about it is that they made him so annoying is that he's gonna get his voice ripped out of it. That's the funny joke about it.
Yeah, I get what they were trying to go for with Bumblebee, but he's still annoying.
That Tails is much less annoying, and they're both yellow and blue. and the younger brother compared to the older brother figure that Optimus and Sonic are for them.
I suppose in your mind the ideal adaptation would be something along the lines of a similar origin story that we see in Transformers 1, the overall storyline from Transformers Prime.
That would be the ultimate. Like if Prime and 1 had a baby in that, and no human characters, not one single bit, no humans, no humans.
Okay, I guess that excludes us. Bye-bye. No more humans. No, just kidding.
But I will say about some of the people who hand-fisted it were John Hamm and Scarlett Johansson, who were... I think that it was the director, Josh Cooley, who they had respect for, and he, funny enough, did a good job with Toy Story 4.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's not his fault that story was mid. It's the fact that people didn't want Toy Story 4, but Transformers 1 had the opposite problem.
Well, Toy Story 4 was actually a surprise hit for me.
They didn't know they wanted with Transformers 1.
Right.
It still has that fat, but I think the fat can be trimmed down. Like it's taller. It's really tolerable. It's really nice because it like the core story between Orion and D16. It really does grab you because you're not when you had such low expectations, you do not expect it to hit this hard to you.
Well, quite.
And especially that they had the balls to rip that had Megatron rip Sentinel Prime in half, and it to feel you like.
I guess
you can tell that the actor playing Megatron, he was dedicated to this. I saw in the bonus feature, he was like a kid in a candy store with how he finally got to play. I think Chris Hemsworth was more just appreciative to be a part of it because it's not Thor, but he's good for the ride. And I love how the plot line, it definitely takes itself seriously when we get to the truth scene, like with the Sentinel Prime selling them all out. And it definitely reevaluates the film. And also, it is, unlike Sonic, animated. But it took nearly 20 years, for it to be this way. I wonder if Sonic will get the same treatment.
Well, there was that first Transformers movie that was a conclusion of the original series.
I know, it's the matter... Oh, then that makes my point even clearer. That Sonic couldn't have his own first theatrical film in animation, but Transformers could. And guess what? Back about...
Actually, Brooks, now that you mentioned that, there was the particularly weird Sonic OVA movie, which was kind of adapting Sonic CD.
I know, but I meant theatrical.
Theatrical, yeah.
And by the way, funny enough, enough in that '86 film that it was made by the same people who did Dragon Ball Z. The same studio that
Oh man!
And Sailor Moon and One Piece.
Holy moly!
Bandai.
Oh, no wonder Japan was making so much Transformers.
Toei.
Ah, yeah, Toei. Of course, yes. Oh man, no wonder there were Japanese Transformers in that one Transformers collaboration that came out earlier this year. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And by the way, with Sonic and Transformers, they both have Japanese encoded into them.
Oh yeah.
But Sonic was originally like a Sega game, a Japanese video game.
Yeah.
But this was a Japanese toy brand that got deals with Hasbro and then the American writers once the TV show took off, then they kind of like took ownership, and then Japanese was okay, fine.
We have much to thank the Japanese for in regards to our culture overall.
So I think it's so weird with how I was so burnt out, and then you gave me what I want, and now you won't give me more because Hasbro is done doing films.
Well, at least they went out with a bang, I guess.
Yeah. Because I would love to see like how this. I wish that we could got a trilogy with this. My God, like it could have leaned so much the fat off. I mean, man, it could have been great. It could have been fantastic. Hell, it could have been better than Sonic.
Man, oh man.
And hell, I had so much standards for Transformers 1. Of all things, it gave me standards.
Alright.
It gave me something to go for. With how fatty that is, it gave me standards. Think about that.
I guess that marketing you mentioned earlier could be argued to be a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, you won't see that grimmer stuff coming, but on the other hand, it let down the film's chances of success.
Really?
Well, I mean, people were expecting, oh boy, another typical buddy comedy film, but the people who actually went in to see the film, wow, that was pretty epic.
How could that be a downside?
Well, it's a double-edged sword, because the marketing, the trailers and stuff like that made the movie look as if it was going to be one thing, and, you know, for the first half it was, but then the second half it was something mostly completely different from what people were expecting, so it could be a double-edged sword in that way. Also, much like how Jim Carrey becomes more like Mike Pollock, I find it really interesting how Chris Hemsworth becomes more like Peter Cullen as the story goes along. I like that detail with the vocal performance. And honestly, that's just the entire scenario from Megatron trying to kill Sentinel Prime, Optimus, Orion getting in the way, and then... Sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry. No, that point. And then the whole sequence of D16 letting go of Orion, then the whole sequence of D16 becoming Megatron, killing off Sentinel Prime, and then Orion becoming Optimus Prime. Just that entire sequence. That's...
And also seeing Primus, the whole lore.
Oh, yeah. Just that entire scene as one of the best scenes in all of 2024, I must say. Like, up there with, like, the migration scene from Wild Robot. Just an amazing, amazing scene. Like, even if you can critique other aspects of the film, I think there's unanimous agreement that one whole, like, 7-minute scene was just one of the most epic scenes in all of 2024. I think there's unanimous agreement about that.
And also the Optimus fighting, like, Megatron.
Yeah, that too. That as well. Just,
Even in the bonus features, they were like, how do we... I even love that they said in the bonus features they wanted to shoot it like how... Like, they wanted to shoot the eyes of humans. Like, they actually wanted to see how, like... Because there's no scaling. There's no humans to see how big they are. So they shot it exactly like how they did in the Bayformers.
Human point of view.
Yes, they showed it from that point of view.
A human eye view!
Yeah, it's from that fight scene. That's why they shot from the bottom. They shoot it like the camera's at the bottom, and then goes upwards.
So you would usually call that a worm's eye view in filmmaking terms, but I guess in this context you would have to call that human eye view. That makes a lot of sense in hindsight. Yeah.
It's so crazy how they did. It's a mix of corporate like half-assing and passionate dedication, like genuine passion dedication at Transformers 1. That's like the fat is the corporate like laziness, like because there was genuine like effort and talent put into this film.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh.
They and it's great the people who made it. Well, the people who cared most about it. Like, I feel like it's with like Dr. Evil. Some of you genuinely care about. Some of you genuinely care about it. Passionately care about stories. Some of you just half-assing. Excuse me. Right. That's the lazy asses. Like, just for them to like, you know.
Right.
And then they shoot the fat off. You shot me! You shot me right in the arm! Right. So, and they also, it's also that they wanted to show off how, say, like, how they wanted to use the transformations like showing how they're like superpowers, not like a usual like trucks or like tanks. That's even why they make sure the designs to make sure that they look enough to look like human vehicles, but enough to look alien.
Aye, because that makes sense because they're from an alien world, so the vehicles are not going to look exactly like our vehicles, but they're still vehicles.
And it is like how chaotic, like how they wanted to show off like the transform, they fight, like they were transforming non-stop during the fight and using his superpowers. Kind of like how Sonic, like, you know, they were using his superpowers and not just gimmicks, like transform and like, but they genuinely wanted to use like as godlike abilities. And
absolutely.
they accomplished like that.
Aye. We'll certainly get to that.
That's what they said in the bonus features. They made that clear that's what they said.
All right.
That's what they said.
All right. I'll take your word for that. I'll really need to get a physical copy of the.
And with that end credit scene, why did they have to do that Bumblebee thing? Like, who cares? But the end credit scene where they came up with the Decepticon symbol and that they were like in this rally, okay, that was great. But why did you have to do that? Was that for the kids? That was the kids, wasn't it?
I guess you had that one Bumblebee scene in the mid-credit scene, and then at the post-credit scene, you got Megatron rising to power to become like leader of the Megatron.
That's what I'm saying. The other one was for the kids, and the other one was, you know.
Yeah, there's quite a divide between. We gotta keep this safe for kids.
Let's get to Sonic 3.
Oh man. Honestly, this is gonna be one of the best films of this year. I'm just saying that out there right now. Yeah, I can understand why you beg to differ, but this means a lot to me, and a lot of people. So, where do we begin?
I just saw it, and
right.
It could have been better. Like I said, the standards I had for Transformers 1, it failed. Like it failed.
Right. All right. Fair enough. People going into like this movie, like they get a picture of what to expect from the other movies, especially if you're familiar with the other kind of movies that we've talked about. But at the same time, this was going to be rather different from those other kind of movies, and meant a lot of thanks in part to the fact that they were again listening to the fans, taking the feedback to heart, and making some adjustments. Honestly, it's gone to the part where the humans' character development seems a wee bit rushed in this movie. But, I mean, they're still playing an important part, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe some Paramount employee was listening to us right now and thinking, okay, next movie will have an equal balance between the other characters and the human characters. Or a bit more. But I'll still keeping it very Sonic-y, yeah.
It's, with this film, I mean, with Shadow, I mean, he's good. I can't. But I mean, Keanu Reeves, he does a great performance.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, like he's giving his all in. It just with Megatron, it can't go. Yeah, it's so low compared to that. I'm sorry.
Right, compared to Megatron. Well, I guess Shadow's a different kind of character compared to Megatron, but
no, I meant the writing on
the writing. Right? Yeah, the writing.
It's not they could have, but they didn't. It's like that. It's so weird with Transformers 1 with the writing, with comparing the Shadow to Megatron. With the writing, it's still like with, you know, him and the girl. It's like they're holding your hand, especially with also Tom, the paternal parent, nearly dying. But no, he's fine. He's all right.
Yeah.
I did not say that in Transformers 1. Hell, even the original '86 film was even ballsier enough.
They've killed off Optimus Prime, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really should have raised the stakes, but to be fair...
I think this brings me up about what Sonic X is to Sonic 3 and what the original 1986 film is to Transformers 1. How tradition and genetic coding is what gave them more the advantage.
Right. Although, I will say this, Tom and Maddie are still 1 billion times better than Chris Thorndike. So that alone makes it better than Sonic X. And yes, I have seen the Sonic X adaptation of this particular game, which this movie is also adapting. And yeah, Sonic X does faithfully adapt that, but Chris Thorndike is in it, and he's a pathetic wimp. With this movie, Sonic 3, I mean,
and Dr. Robotnik is finally fat.
Finally fat,
and
yes!
Signature suit.
Signature suit. Yeah, it was so cool to see him in the signature suit, and, it's so cool to just see, all that stuff happening in general, really. I mean, man, this movie has had so much hype going for it. Like, so much so that Sega established in their marketing the Year of Shadow.
Transformers 1 did not get the same love.
Yeah, the marketing for Transformers 1 really let it down, but the marketing for Sonic 3 was off the walls, like, out of the park. Like, it was like, this was hyped all the way back to Sonic 2, like, with the post-credits scene back into spring of 2022. And then in 2024, we started getting trailers, like, at the beginning of this year, and we had to wait all the way to December, so it was hyped all year round, and Sega was establishing more game content for Shadow the Hedgehog. And 2 months ago, they released Sonic X Shadow Generations, which is basically a remaster of Sonic Generations with a new campaign dedicated to Shadow the Hedgehog and his history and his levels, his highlights and stuff like that.
Cry, Calum. You're gonna make me cry. Because Transformers 1 got none of that.
Yeah.
War for Cybertron is basically the equivalent of Transformers game. Didn't get shit. Didn't get a remaster and didn't get anything.
That is sad. That is really sad. I'm sorry to hear about that. And what's more,
since you're just as much a Sonic fan as I'm a Transformers 1,
yeah,
Transformers fan, yeah, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I'm just saying it as it is. I'm sorry. Also, just a few weeks ago, Sonic X Shadow Generation got DLC with this extra level, which was set in Tokyo in the movie, and you see the game Shadow get a new form.
They have the little mantis claws and the scorpions that, Robotnik and
That would have been great if that was the case. No, this was a teaser. This entire DLC level was basically a teaser, and basically you see the game Shadow voiced by Kirk Thornton, the same guy who voiced Askeladd in Netflix, the Vinland Saga, by the way.
Really?
Oh yeah, same voice actor. Yeah, fun fact. At least in the Netflix English dub, at least.
Who?
Kirk Thornton, that's his name.
Who's the character he played?
Shadow and Askeladd.
But wait, was that Keanu Reeves? Oh, wait.
Keanu Reeves as Askeladd? That would have been something.
How's our chat, by the way? How's the chat?
I think our chat's on the whole getting a positive reception to us. Sorry, Keanu Reeves. For some reason there wasn't much for them to say about Transformers 1. I think I'm just going to assume they agree with us on regarding Transformers 1, unless you say otherwise. What do you think of Transformers 1?
Could you still hear me?
I can. I'm just gonna check that out. Get to the part where you speak. I was speaking for some time. Come on. Yes, they can still hear you. Right. So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So, but what I was trying to say before was that the game Shadow.
Talk about Shadow's,
yeah,
tragic backstory.
Oh yeah, that plays a crucial part with Shadow in general. Yeah.
No, I do like the notion that my dad said that stars reach to Earth and they die out before,
that was beautiful.
Years.
Yeah.
That's great. I would like it to have more depth. It's the girl who played. They had a nice little thing, and also with a whole Dr. Robotnik Senior tried to escape with them, and she died in the incident. I would have loved it to be even darker, like him to kill all the guys there. But they didn't do that.
Well, I think given the Shadow's facial reactions and then cutting to...
I'm just saying, I wish it
maybe there's be some fan out there who could depict it, but I think something I actually quite like is that, judging by Shadow's sheer reaction to the event...
remember that Tom survived, so maybe they're all injured.
Tis but a scratch!
You literally got shot in the gut and Billy liked me by Shadow!
No, he didn't.
What's that then?
I've had worse.
You liar!
Come on, you pansy! How about you? And they get hit by meteors of millions.
I'm just pissed as Arthur was. I am just...
Tis but a flesh wound. Oh, stop that!
And it's amazing that James Marsden has finally is in a video game movie, not in that stupid Ruddy road trip shit.
Yeah, the actual video game movie. Yeah. Anyway, what I was trying to say before is that
even with the whole they basically went full Mystique and disguised themselves as other him and his girlfriend, and even brought back that lady from the other films.
Maddie.
They had to bring her back because they liked her so much.
Aye. I like that. So, I suppose what you were saying about that one scene with Shadow go full out, I think I find it rather clever that you have Shadow reacting to Maria's death, and then you immediately cut to Shadow powering up the
tragic backstory. Okay, you continue.
Right, sorry. The fact that it cuts straight to Shadow powering up the thing and you hear his anger going out, you get the implication that he really beat the snot out of all those other guys. So the implication is there.
Again, if it would be much more impactful if that guy died.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So kind of ruined it.
Yeah. I mean, apart from that, it was a pretty powerful third act. There's unanimous agreement that people really like the third act of this movie.
And of course, Jim Carrey. Jim Curry
as Robot.
Jim Curry.
Jim Curry!
Jim Curry. He was older. He was Robotnik Senior. He was, instead of Jim Carrey playing himself.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Spice!
And, okay, we'll get... I want to still talk about the backstory.
Yep.
I kind of wish they had depth to it, but I wish it could have been more.
A lot of people, yeah.
Simple for the kids.
Aye.
With Transformers 1, like I said, I had standards going into that from going into that film, and it did not reach them at all.
Aye. I mean...
And let's go, so Shadow wants to kill all of humanity and Robotnik Sr. in a suicide, go full seppuku?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, and also, I'm gonna make a joke about how, okay, I wanna, never mind. Okay, never mind.
Right.
So basically, they're both going full Alan Landlord. Except
here we go.
They're even in Japan.
Okay, what are you trying to say?
And also, it's also about how Dr. Robotnik Sr. tricked Robotnik Jr. That's all.
Rouge, you pathetic little ant! Why-eyed! Dr. Robotnik
Sr.
with the mastermind the entire time!
The thing that's happening to you was orchestrated by me and my insane mind.
Even me going obese, that was you. Yes, all delicately coordinated using paid actors and animatronics.
Yeah, I didn't even leave prison until now, just to get here.
In the palm of my hands, to make one simple request.
I VR, the PSVR 2.
PSVR 2. I was just wondering, you wanted to hang out with me, smoke weed, fill our bellies with diet soda and popcorn and other fatty foods like that, and play cosplaying VR reality on the PSVR 2.
How about I come over and also, I get that he would humanity. I get the point that they both would commit suicide. It's a suicide, and I get that the point that that's a bit darker, but
Yeah.
I still don't feel that. It still feels too light.
Well, I should mention that it's not mentioned that.
Especially with their like self-awareness, like, oh, it's so dark, oh, and even like with the whole like the tale of two curries, like even like as if I'm as an actor in a.
They're played by the same actor in the Hollywood movie.
Seriously, I take Shadow a bit more seriously. I can't take him when he's too goofy as fuck. I can't. And there's also that kind of problem with that too, with how he, in a way, Eggman Jr. is also. There's also the questionability about how the girl is related to Eggman. About how.
I mean, a lot of people would ask that.
Do you take this guy seriously with him being Santa and having his grandson tackle him, while also trying to help his granddaughter escape and then dying?
Well,
no, I can't take this character seriously. No.
Well, at least
it's kind of a tonal whiplash a bit.
Yeah, I can understand those critiques, especially. Although, keep in mind, Ivo Robotnik would have been about a similar kind of childish age as Maria, because Maria is Ivo's cousin, so keep that in mind. Maria is the granddaughter of Joe Robotnik, right?
But it's a matter of say that, and also it's a matter that he would pretty much excommunicate himself with his family, and also about him dying in the most like ridiculous, like, he literally goes into it and like boop,
like a bug zapper.
Yeah,
they had a pretty comedic fight as well.
The emotional depth of the guy, like especially since he lost his granddaughter.
Yeah.
I still don't feel that.
Because
he's just too fucking goofy.
Yeah, I mean, I can get that.
I can say that the whole film in a nutshell. It's too goofy.
I can understand that. I completely understand that. Although even still, I mean, I've noticed online that people are frequently talking about like themes of abandonment and grief and how the different characters react to it.
I would love you. I can't see that enough. I mean, I can't see in order to take it seriously enough.
Yeah. I understand.
Good kudos to you guys. I just can't.
I guess the fact that they dedicated their time to trying to understand it, I guess.
And I think they had more scenes dedicated to Jim Carrey fucking himself, honestly, than they had with the whole like tragic thing, you know.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, again, if I were directing, it would have taken it in a different direction. But again, this series. If
I were the director, I would take it in the worst of directions. I would be not hesitating. If I had full creative control, I would be hell. Even Shadow, who in the game, his own game, he had guns. He had a bullet gun.
Well, in his own spin-off game, which is set after the events of Sonic Adventure 2, yeah.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. But this, he has laser guns. Okay.
Yeah.
And even that chick from Breaking Bad and Jessica Jones is here.
Oh yeah, they were.
That one who was like, yeah.
Which character was that again? Sorry, could you remind me?
It was the director chick who was against Team Sonic and the Robotniks.
Oh right. Oh yeah. Right. That's right.
And it's great. At least, definitely, Sonic Death 3 has felt like an evolution. I definitely can.
Absolutely.
But again, I think this is what it comes down to. Sonic, he does not seem that cool to me.
Right.
He's not. He still seems like the same one from at least the last film. if I'm gonna be more generous.
Well, there is.
Not have that cool attitude. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a bit with him and Knuckles, but I still don't see him as the cooler older brother, like that hot shot, like even Maverick. I don't see him as Maverick. I see him as Bumblebee. If you get what I mean.
Right. Not even with like that beginning race sequence where he boasts like first place to no one's surprise and that kind of thing.
No, I don't see him as that. And also I think it's from the design, especially. I think it's too soft. I think his design is not as sharp enough. They have not sharpened enough. Where I think it's the design, like the character design, the like how you see in the video game, you can definitely see how sharp and cool Sonic is from his very appearance. You can see that. But with this one, yeah, you can definitely see that he has that hot shot Maverick to him. He has that Maverick, from Top Gun Maverick. He has that to him.
Yeah, that's basically been the main appeal.
This one ever grew into that, really, for me.
It's ironic because this movie design has a lot more Quill design.
Yeah, they should have at least beefed him up a bit more. Hell, they did it a bit with Shadow, and hell, they kind of had him make a little bit soft to resemble Sonic a bit. They had him.
Well, I guess that was kind of the point of the plot of the original as well. The fact that Shadow was resembling Sonic to the point where
they even said you look like me.
Yeah.
Honestly, at first I didn't see the resemblance. Actually,
well,
I thought he looked a lot more sharper because I think it's the fact that Sonic was not that very expressive and happy-go-lucky as this one. He was a bit more stoic in his coolness, kind of like Optimus Prime. He's a bit more stoic, but this one does not have a stoic appear. But Shadow does.
Right. Yeah, Shadow is exactly like he is in the games, honestly.
Yeah, and that's great. I'm glad that Shadow is exactly like that.
Alright. Something to know.
He even gets his own power, his own Super Saiyan form. Wow, what a ripoff! I even made a joke with a friend. At least Sonic managed to make a live-action adaptation. Even though it ripped off everything from Dragon Ball, the one thing Dragon Ball can never have is a proper live-action adaptation. Pretty much, here's a good scene, like that one scene from Pulp Fiction, that it would Sonic would be John Travolta's character, and Dragon Ball would be Sam Jackson. Could you ever make a live-action adaptation? Fuck you. Your Goku looks like past Jesse Pinkman. Fuck you.
Man, I mean, yeah, the anime homages were pretty overt for those of you paying attention. The Akira bike slide, the full-on Dragon Ball Z fight, pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, actually, again, that's never gonna be a live-action adaptation. It's the closest we get with that whole fight scene is the closest we're ever gonna get to that.
Especially with the trail colors,
I wonder
guess.
if even Silver, am I getting the name right?
Silver the Hedgehog? Right.
Yeah, who's basically the Trunks of this series. I wonder if he's gonna be. I think that now let's talk about the post-credits.
With Amy and Metal Sonic?
Yes, and I swear, that scene, I knew they weren't going to open out oh, he's gonna fight Metal Sonic next. No, I knew they're gonna milk that for all it's worth and say Metal Sonic and then have a bunch of them and then have it to Amy show up. But with Amy coming to save Sonic, I'm a little worried.
Well,
Amy's the damsel in distress usually.
Well, not really. Not really.
I haven't seen the Sonic X, really.
Well, alright, right. Well, we see, in the games, yeah, she was kind of the damsel in distress in Sonic CD, but since Sonic Adventure onwards, she wasn't the damsel in distress as much, but she was definitely the stalker of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, they probably, man, now with the modern lens, I cannot.
So basically, throughout the series, Amy would constantly stalk Sonic, and Sonic, for obvious reasons, didn't like that. With that said, there were some depictions of Sonic and Amy in Sonic X and in the comics where the two of them were a legit couple who actually respected each other. But throughout the game series, Sonic just couldn't stand Amy's company. But with that said, in more recent games like Sonic Frontiers, there's more of an implication that they have a mutual respect for, and their relationship is maturing.
I wonder how that would play into like Sonic 4, and I wonder if Rose the Bat will be there.
Rouge the Bat. Rouge the Bat.
Like, oh man, if they have her, oh my god.
Keep the furries away.
They're already coming with Amy. They're already on their road.
Oh, good grief. Good grief. Although
there's gonna be female, like, after more of a character. We finally got all the males out of the way. Now here comes the female.
It's interesting that we bring up Rouge the Bat because she actually did make an appearance in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which this movie adapted.
Why wasn't she in this? I think that they look at bring back that one. Bring back your case. Look at the character. You know the character in the middle, the one with the bubble.
Oh, Chow. Yes, the Chow also made an appearance.
Even, like, I wonder if they're actually gonna make him appear.
Well, they did. They did.
No. Actually, not in like that whole like
Sorry, I'm pretty good. I think that was it.
I wonder if they're actually gonna make him a character and not just like a cameo.
Knowing these movies, it's not likely. That's the only homage we're gonna get. But to be fair, given the fact that this is a loose adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2, the fact that the reference is there is much appreciated because the Chow Garden was a lot of fun. I mean, the Chow Garden wasn't really...
I thought it was going to be stupid, but it was actually surprisingly fun.
I mean...
But I swear, they are going to have Silver, and amazing if he is the son of Shadow, just like Trunks is the son of Vegeta. I'm just joking. I can't stop making a Dragon Ball Z comparison.
Now you got the fans speculating. Oh, is Silver the son of Shadow? Is he really? Is he really? Because he ultimately had fun.
Goku's father figure died. He died. But unfortunately, it could have went that way but actually Goku did kill his father figure, but he didn't know it because he was in his 8th form, and that's why they had to. And that's also back to the I swear I see like Piccolo in Knuckles. Don't you see that?
Yeah, people have been making that comparison as well. You're not the first to make that observation. Yeah.
And of course, Shadow Vegeta.
Vegeta, Sonic, Goku. Yeah, that goes without saying. Ah!
Wow, what a rip-off.
I saw that death battle. I got that reference. I understood that reference. So I suppose in regards to your question of why wasn't Rouge the Bat in there, well, Amy Rose also appears in Sonic Adventure 2, and...
So I think that she's probably going to experience Sonic 4.
Yeah.
In great numbers.
I think...
But about the Metal Sonic, that's why I'm saying that was complete fan service. That was 100% that post-credit was fan service.
Yeah.
100% that they could have easily ended it with like Metal Sonic like locking his focus on the Sonic and then end right there and set up for it. But no, they had to milk it out with more Metal Sonics, even more Metal Sonics. Because I remember a bunch of kids, they're all freaking out when they saw Metal Sonic, and a bunch of them come out like Terminator style.
I suppose
and Amy coming to save the day. But I hope it's gonna be a Princess Peach style where it's not annoying like a girl.
Like in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Like Alita 1, where it's because Amy could be a girl boss. She could be.
She could be.
That's what I'm saying in this day and age. She's not only a stalker, but a girl boss.
But throughout the series, I've noticed that the men and the women, even with the complaints about like the human side of things, the men and women are portrayed as equals.
Male, female, men and women. They're not men and women and how they're teenagers.
I'm talking about the other human characters as well. The men and women are portrayed as the equals.
In Sonic 4, they're gonna have that big chaos being. Remember the big like
from Sonic Adventure 1?
Form. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, they might do. They might do.
And also, they're gonna have like I remember from Sonic X is that they the same species as Knuckles. There's more
actual echidnas, yeah.
And,
but Knuckles is
the
last of his kind.
They would probably have to defeat.
Well, I did take the time to watch the Knuckles mini-series. It's very childish.
I would say about Eggman redeeming himself and actually being a hero, I thought that was a total cop-out. Because Eggman, Robotnik, being the good guy in this case and not being the villain. Yeah, I know this is adaptations, but why couldn't you keep him as the villain and keep us make him even more hatred towards Sonic?
Well, the thing is, in Sonic Adventure 2, it's it's quite frequent in especially in the finale of Sonic Adventure 2 that Eggman was intending to take over the world, but when things go really wrong, he makes an alliance with Sonic to stop the Earth from being destroyed altogether. Or in other games, Eggman would collaborate with Sonic to stop an even greater force.
And I've got that again. Yeah, they're not dead.
They're not dead.
They'll be back. They'll be back.
Da 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 da. That would be awesome if that was the case. The Knuckles, I've seen the Knuckles miniseries. It's pretty childish. It's not the best, but it's quite fun for what it is.
But man, what Shadow spin-off series? Man, what was
oh, God, go all the way with it. Go all the way. I should mention that the reason why Amy and Rouge and wasn't included in the main bulk of the narrative was because it probably would have been too many characters, and their main aim was to simplify the plot for a loose adaptation and include the human characters like Tom and Maddie mainly for the kind of movie they were trying to make. So it makes sense as to why Rouge isn't there. I mean, that makes sense.
Human characters to the fat. I'm glad it got much lead.
You know, if anything, I mean, even though
I definitely appreciate Sonic for what the trilogy for what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
from where it came from. When it came
from.
My God,
I mean,
it's definitely better. Even if I'm just more disappointed by Sonic 3. I mean, because of the high standards I have. Maybe I have too much high standards.
Maybe. I can understand that.
For what it could be, like as a story with this much going for it. Just kind of anticlimactic for me.
So even though the human characters' development are a wee bit rushed this time, they still nevertheless develop them just enough to make the sort of themes about vengeance and reconciliation still thematically important because...
And about that, the whole vengeance thing, I'm glad it's a plot point. It's about the whole thing. I think that Knuckles forgiving him because he didn't use the emeralds he turned it around by using it to save the Earth. I get it.
Yeah.
And also for a way for us to get that sweet Shadow, like Super Shadow form.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Clever bit of marketing. They depicted Shadow in his usual form, saying this ends now. But in the movie, he says that line as he's turning into the super forms. That was hype.
Yeah, that was and I was not in a crowded theater, fortunately enough, but I remember a lot of people taking pictures of like I remember like a lot of camera flashes going off.
Oh, come on!
So we can post on the internet.
For Pete's sakes. They just can't allow people to go to the cinemas these days. For Pete's sakes.
They want to spoil everything. I think I remember I was spoiled myself. I remember seeing it, but I knew that was gonna be in there.
There were some people even going out of their way to give like false leaks and stuff like that, like, oh, Silver's gonna be in the next movie, oh, Amy's gonna look like this, even though in the film Amy's hair looks completely different to how other fans depicted her, and Silver's nowhere to be seen. So yeah, that was a couple.
In her usual pink dress.
Yeah, so people who were making those rumors, I'm calling your bluff, you morons. I'm sorry, I'm just calling it out as it is.
Alright, out of the 3 films, which is the best?
Sonic 3, easily.
I would have to watch them again.
Absolutely. I mean, with Sonic 3, they went all the way with it, and as of right now, now keep in mind, video game movie adaptations are a bit of a low standard. Keep that in mind. But I think unanimously, people are saying in agreement that Sonic 3 is one of the best video game movie adaptations ever made because it takes the core.
I would say that yes, in accordance to the video game, which is adapting. Yes.
Yeah. And honestly, this is one of my all-time favorite video games.
Talking about on its own sometimes, like with Transformers 1, I would say. The story and the writing on its own. All right, so I think that's been our talk about Paramount. So I think we should wrap things up with how you put put it in the post live streams thumbnail about the whole Mufasa shit. With,
oh yeah, I think
wrap things up with that.
yeah. Currently, as of recording this, there's immense competition between Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and this fairly daft Mufasa
I definitely
prequel.
want that to win. I want that to beat out Mufasa. I want to.
It is. It already is, like by miles ahead. It's already.
Son of a bitch, rot.
Right. I mean, I knew that Mufasa movie was going to suck the moment I found out that in that movie, Mufasa would be depicted as not born of royal lineage, which completely destroys the entire point of The Lion King in the first place, because...
Are you fucking kidding?
If Mufasa is not part of royal lineage, then Taka, aka Scar, was meant to be the first in line. Therefore, what was the point in him even trying to kill off Simba and Mufasa? What on earth?
Do you worship the throne or something?
It might sound like it, but the thing is, like, I mean, these small...
Like, because, but why? I mean, they're both played by black guys. Why? If you want to keep the minority thing, but one's played by James Earl Jones of all people.
What's that got to do with
Originally, Mufasa's originally. So why favor Scar and make Mufasa not originally royalty? Scar is probably some right to claim the throne since they both weren't royalty.
Right, I was beginning to think, what earth are you talking about? But then I remembered, oh yeah, the modern Disney's double standards of diversity.
Just go watch Transformers 1 if you want a similar archetypal thing. Just go watch that.
Yeah, I've been hearing. There was this one video I saw online, which it was a movie. It was from this YouTuber called The Movie Cynic, where he was comparing Sonic 3 with Mufasa, and how he was saying how the themes of.
I will say about Mufasa.
I didn't finish what I was saying, but go on.
It's not a remake at all. It's more of a sequel to a remake.
Well, sequel and a prequel like Godfather Part 2.
It's not trying to milk off your nostalgia by remaking the movie. It's milking off your nostalgia by making a sequel to that remake. It's making a sequel, but at least it's doing something different.
Sequel, prequel, like Godfather Part 2.
It's at least doing its own thing.
Right.
I give it that.
Right. I mean, I've completely forgotten what I was trying to talk about. I've completely lost my train of thought.
I think my point was pretty good.
Maybe. Yeah, Sonic 3 is definitely... Oh yeah, now I remember. So with the Movie Cynic's video, he's talking about how the themes of trauma and bitterness and stuff like that was handled way better in Sonic 3 than it was in the Mufasa film, because in the Mufasa film, the character arcs are way too spontaneous. Like, one moment Taka is this loving, like, brother character, but then, like, a few seconds later, oh, it's Jeremy Irons now. Oh, what the heck? And there's other inconsistencies, such as Scar was...
I go watch Transformers 1. D16 makes Taka look like a bitch.
At least that depiction of Taka. I mean, there's plenty of Lion King source material as a good alternative to Mufasa. Oh yeah. I mean, this prequel.
I mean, I know of the
Lion Guard. There was also children's books describing Mufasa and Taka in their younger days, and the story of how Taka became known as Scar, like children's book, and even in the Lion Guard. Yeah.
I think we should wrap this up.
Long story short, go watch Sonic 3 instead of Mufasa.
Probably, if you want to do a streaming service, and if you have to pick a poison between Paramount and Disney, go get a Paramount Plus account.
Oh, there's one last thing I wanted to mention about Paramount. Especially given the fact that we're talking about the subject of Paramount listening to their audiences. I think it's something you've probably forgotten about.
I know, I was bringing that up. I was making that point.
I should probably mention that South Park made a special that was critiquing the woke crowd.
Yeah, No, I mean the Paramount versus Disney. I was bringing that up with the whole Paramount Plus, Disney Plus. I was gonna bring that up how Paramount is probably better than Disney and how appreciation of it.
Right.
Just rounding it up.
Well, I suppose I think the people of South Park. I mean, obviously they're the clowns and the jesters in the king's court, so of course they're going to listen into certain things.
Yeah,
but
this is the unusual that they usually don't do this sort of thing. I mean, they would, but it's surprising that they even would catch wind of this because it's Kathleen Kennedy. You know?
Yeah.
Even they would say, "Okay, yeah, this is absolute okay." It's like that. It's like it's Breaking Bad where like it's like trying to lit the Kathleen Kennedy's Kathleen Kennedy's house down, and then Dom's like, "Okay, like okay, the secret's out. Kathleen's a bitch, all right? Kathleen's a bitch. Like, okay, she can't keep getting away with this.
She can't keep getting away with it.
And she won't. We'll take her down together.
So it's interesting that when South Park released that Pandaverse special, exclusive to Paramount Plus, it went viral, and suddenly this whole culture war, a thing, and the critique against the woke, which people like you and I had known for some time, it became much more broadly known.
We were born in it. We were born fighting into it.
Yeah. So this special overtly called out the double standards.
Like J.R. Tolkien.
Yeah. So it was so refreshing to see this special overtly call out the double standards, the fact of inserting these identity politics just for the sake of it, rather than it being an authentic storytelling. Like, for example, make Bambi lame and gay, but madam, Bambi's a baby deer. I don't care. Put a chicken and make a lame and gay.
What about Snow White is Walt Disney? It basically made this company.
Put a chicken and make a lame and gay.
Yeah, I make it uncannily fucking gay as
fuck. What about Indiana Jones? Screw Indiana Jones.
Wait, what about Star Wars again and again and again?
And the fact that they had Cartman replaced with the more inclusive version of Cartman, and then the character was like, "Hang on, wait a minute, this isn't our Cartman. This doesn't make any sense." "Oh, this makes perfect sense. I think the problem is you."
And also with this Cartman version being like, "Oh, I get to play Baldur's Gate 3. Oh my god, that really is Cartman." Got it.
So regardless,
my first version of Cartman,
right.
You guys are the little white motherfuckers, and I was right.
So thanks to that special. So thanks to that hilarity, the critiques against the extreme woke crowd became more well known, which further re-emphasizes our point that Paramount seems to have this very fascinating thing these days of actually listening to their audience.
I think they've always been a conservative company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just going on a hunch.
I suppose there is the Yellowstone series, another series like that they've been turning out lately.
Also the matter, they could have had the MCU. They gave it up to Disney. They had the MCU rights already. Iron Man, the first Iron Man. They had Captain America, they had the Incredible Hulk, and Thor, and the original Avengers film. And then they gave it up all to Disney. Hell, Disney does not even put their own Disney brand, those Cinderella's Castle, and all their bought IPs.
Well, maybe with a few exceptions of some specific cartoon shows that they do under the Marvel brand, I guess.
No, I meant the movies.
The movies, right.
They bought and purchased it, but they don't want anything to really do with it because that messes with their Disney brand, the fairy tale brand.
I suppose.
You fucking have it, you fucking cowards!
It's interesting that you bring that up because recently there's been a game called Marvel Rivals which came out, and people are really loving that. And that game was made in China, and in China, yeah, in China, and the characters are depicted as how the fans would have preferred to have them to be depicted in like most of the usual media, while still also having certain skins related to like recent movies like Deadpool and Wolverine, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, so on and so forth. So
I think it's time we wrap things up.
Right, so before we do, I think in regards to Paramount listening to their audience, what's the overall takeaway from all this with the Sonic franchise, Top Gun Maverick, South Park, Transformers 1? What can we take away from all this?
I think we could take away from is that Paramount basically was irrelevant for the most of the 2010s, exception with Mission Impossible, also Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah.
I think this is their decade to shine.
They certainly have that potential. Certainly they had a good start in this decade.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had a few blunders. I mean,
Transformers 1 didn't exactly go by.
I mean, they have had a few blunders with like Star Trek Discovery and the Halo series.
And Halo, oh god.
Alright. But apart from that, they've been pretty consistent with their quality, especially with them, unlike...
Or at least not so obscene with their quality.
Right. Not so obscene with their quality. In fact, recently they've had this really heart-moving Star Trek special with returning William Shatner.
Oh, yeah, and that was actually the really good use of a deepfake. Like,
Aye.
of an AI deepfake. Like, you would allow that. Like, that could actually work.
So I think as of recently,
making the critical drinker weep.
Yeah. So as of recently, it seems that Paramount is, especially with Star Trek, is returning to form, and I guess we'll see the general direction of where it's going in the future. We'll keep our eye on them.
All right. I think we can now wrap things up. And
all right.
Go. If you want to do streaming service, then do Paramount Plus. Or at least I recommend you do Paramount Plus.
You also recommended HBO Max, right?
Yeah, Max is a great account. But I'm just saying, if you want to do a streaming service, and if you want to give your money, that's my point.
Right.
Give your money to whichever company deserves it through their streaming service. Go for Paramount.
There's a reason why people say...
The streaming service is basically giving your money directly to the company in a way.
Yeah.
And if you want to give it straight to a company that probably deserves it better, Paramount.
Yeah, there's a reason why people say vote with your wallets, because what we want to do is to financially support the actual creatives out there. Yeah.
Do not waste it on Disney.
At least modern Disney, yeah.
On Paramount. Probably so maybe we can get more Transformers sequels.
Right. I think that about wraps it up. Let us know what you think about Paramount in the comments down below. Check out Squid Bear's channel, and feel free to check out his Patreon page to support our sci-fi story if you can. And much appreciated. Thank you all so much for tuning in. So this video will be coming out slightly fixed soon enough, but thank you all so much for watching. Scott Sticker and Squid